Hey guys, I'm recording one extra lesson. This is going to be one without exercises, and it might be a little bit confusing, but it's just a few more definitions that I want to throw up on you. But honestly, don't worry about them too much. We'll just introduce them now, and when we feel like, okay, we need to get it better, then we'll practice them. Okay, so what really is important, it's these three definitions. Sine theta is the opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine theta is B over C, the adjacent over C, and tan is the opposite divided by adjacent. Okay, now we're going to introduce three more. Okay, so I'll start actually with sec. Okay, sec. Okay, a sec is the inverse of the cosine. Okay, what does that mean? Inverse, it's basically 1 divided by cosine theta. Okay, obviously I need to have theta here. So sec theta is 1 over cosine theta. What is cosine theta in this case? Is B over C. Right? So 1 divided by B over C, you're flipping that, is C over B. So it's the hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. Okay? Right. What is cosec? Okay? Cosec sounds like cosine, but it's going to be exactly the opposite. It's going to be the inverse of the sine theta. Okay, so cosine theta, if sec theta is the 1 over cosine theta, cosec theta is 1 over sine theta. Okay, so that's going to be 1 over, what is sine theta? Is A over C. So it's going to be C over A. Okay, again, don't worry. I'm not expecting you to remember at this point. I really am not. And we're not even going to practice that much. It's just so that you know that these things exist. Okay? The last one is tan theta. Sorry, not tan. Cotang theta. Okay? And cotang theta will be the inverse of, guess. Yes, it will be the inverse of tan theta. So it's going to be 1 over tan theta. In other words, it's going to be, in this case, B over A. B over A. The adjacent over the opposite. Okay? So I introduce you to it's basically three inverse relations. Okay? Sec theta is 1 over cosine theta. Cosec theta is 1 over sine theta. Cotan theta is 1 over tan. If I have to say, in my opinion, cotan theta is the most important one, is the one that you'll use mostly in, not so much this year, but grade 12, grade 11, 12. You will also use sec and cosec, not as much, but cotan theta is actually quite important. Okay? To try and remember that, cotan theta is actually quite easy because it sounds like tan, so you just remember it's the inverse of tan. Now here it's kind of the opposite. So sec sounds a bit like, cosec sounds more like cosine theta, but I just remember it's exactly the opposite. So the inverse of sine theta. And sec theta is 1 over cosine theta. Okay, so that was a little bit of a short lesson. Maybe you just pause me and copy that, your book. Copy that, pause me and copy that. Write it down there. We're not going to touch it for a while. We'll take it out of the shelf at some point, and then we'll practice it a bit more. Okay, no exercise at this point. Cheerio.